We're not just going back to the moon to plant flags. This time, we're building a city in one of the most dangerous alien places humans have ever stepped. What if the most valuable real estate in history isn't in New York or Dubai, but on the surface of the moon? The Artemis program is the first step toward a new reality, a permanent human presence on the moon, but the first outpost of a civilization that is no longer earthbound. A massive partnership between the United States, Europe, Japan, Canada, and private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin. This isn't Apollo 2.0. In the 1960s, Apollo was a race to leave footprints. Artemis is different. It's about staying. Not days, but weeks, months, and eventually, forever. Artemis is headed to one of the most extreme places in the solar system, the lunar South Pole. A place where some valleys have been locked in shadow for billions of years, never touched by sunlight. Temperatures there drop colder than Pluto, hundreds of degrees below freezing. And yet, the most valuable resource we could ever hope to find, water. Billions of liters of it. Water changes everything. It's not just something to drink. It can be split into oxygen for breathing and hydrogen for rocket fuel. That means the moon could become not just a home, but a gas station for the solar system, a launch pad for Mars and beyond. And here's the scale of ambition. NASA has identified 13 landing sites around the South Pole. Not one, not two, but a whole cluster of potential base locations. Each site is chosen with care. High ridges and crater rims where the sun peaks over the horizon, offering near constant light. Just a few hundred meters away, valleys of eternal darkness where the frozen water waits. It's a landscape of extremes and a treasure map for the future. But before we can build homes or bases, we've got to fight the moon's deadliest enemy. And no, it's not radiation or meteorites or even the freezing cold. It's something far more unexpected. On Earth, dust just makes you sneeze. On the moon, dust can shred your suit, blind your visor, and kill you. This isn't ordinary dirt. The moon is covered in a layer of regolith, a powdery gray dust that looks soft in photos, but is one of the most dangerous substances humans have ever encountered. Each grain is a shard of microscopic glass, jagged and razor sharp, created by billions of years of asteroid impacts with no wind or rain to smooth the edges. It's everywhere, and once it's disturbed, it clings to everything. The Apollo astronauts learned this the hard way. Within hours walking on the moon, their white suits were blackened by dust that cut into fabric, clawed through seals, and even scratched their helmet visors. But the danger doesn't stop there. When Apollo 12 landed just 180 meters from the Surveyor 3 probe, astronauts found the craft sandblasted by dust thrown up during their descent. That means rocket exhaust doesn't just blow dust around, it launches it like a shotgun blast, traveling hundreds of meters, scouring anything in its path. Now imagine dozens of landings over the course of years, plus rovers driving back and forth every day. If we don't solve the dust problem, every habitat, every vehicle, every spacesuit will slowly be destroyed. So how do we fight it? The quick and dirty solution comes from the US military, who used a spray-on chemical nicknamed rhino snot. Spray it on sand, and it turns into. It works like concrete, but every gallon must be shipped from Earth. Costly, unsustainable, and polluting. The smarter, long-term solution is radical. Melt the moon itself into glass. Scientists are testing simulated lunar dust, blasting it with lasers. The heat fuses the powder into solid glass-like slabs, strong enough for roads, landing pads, even construction platforms. Impractical on Earth, but maybe perfect for the moon. Instead of lasers, astronauts could use giant Fresnel lenses, huge magnifying glasses that concentrate sunlight into burning beams. Focused sunlight could fuse the soil into durable glass tiles, laid piece by piece. It won't be fast, but once it's done, dust storms from rock exhaust could become a thing of the past. Solve the dust and you've built the foundation of a moon base. But then comes the next big question. How do astronauts move across a hostile, airless world between habitats landing sites and frozen craters without suiting up for a life or death gamble every single time. Forget a moon car. What if astronauts had a space RV, a house on wheels, not just transport as they roam an alien world? A machine that could keep two people alive for months, crossing frozen craters, climbing lunar mountains, and driving through a landscape no human has ever explored. That's the vision behind the Lunar Cruiser, a pressurized rover being developed by the Japanese space agency JAXA in partnership with Toyota. This is a full-scale exploration vehicle, part rover, part mobile home, designed to carry 2 astronauts on road trips lasting up to 30 days. The Lunar Cruiser will run on hydrogen fuel cells, a technology already proven on Earth. Imagine driving over the rim of a crater, looking out through reinforced windows at valleys locked in permanent darkness. Imagine stopping at the edge of a shadowed basin, then stepping out in a pressurized suit to chip samples of ice that's been frozen for billions of years. With a vehicle like this, astronauts won't just survive the moon, they'll explore it in ways Apollo never could. And the design is clever. Toyota engineers have thought about everything from radiation shielding to dust protection. The rover is sealed tight to keep out the abrasive regolith. Its systems are designed to handle temperature swings of hundreds of degrees. And it's big enough to include sleeping quarters, workstations, a kitchen, and even exercise equipment. Essentially, it's a rolling habitat, the moon's first mobile apartment. Would you like to stay in the lunar rover? Leave a comment if so. We would love to hear from you. Why does this matter? Because the moon base isn't going to be a single building in a single spot. It will be spread out. Landing sites, labs, reactors, habitats, and storage depots scattered across rugged terrain. The Lunar Cruiser is the glue that will hold it all together. Without it, astronauts are stuck within walking distance of their habitat. With it, the moon opens up. The Lunar Cruiser is freedom, but it's not permanence. At the end of every road trip, astronauts will still need to come home to real structures. We've got our RV, a house on wheels, to explore an alien world, but here's the truth. You can't live in your car forever. At some point, you need walls, you need shelter, a place that feels permanent. So where do we build humanity's first ever moon base? And what do they even look like on a world with no air, deadly radiation, and temperatures that swing hundreds of degrees? Think less like a flimsy festival tent and more like a space-age fortress, a reinforced metal core wrapped in an expandable shell, built to hold pressure, block radiation, and keep humans alive in one of the harshest places in the solar system. NASA calls it the Foundation Surface Habitat. It's a 3-story structure designed to support up to 4 astronauts for about a month. The ground level is all business, a solid metal frame housing the airlock, spacesuits, and a geology lab for examining lunar samples. A ladder leads up into the inflatable section, where the walls expand out to 6.5 meters wide, creating enough room for hygiene facilities, exercise equipment, and a biology lab to test how plants and small animals cope with the moon's harsh environment. Above that, the 3rd floor becomes the living quarters, bunks, a medical station, a kitchen, and computer workstations. It's tight, but it's a start, humanity's first real foothold on another world. But make no mistake, this is temporary. The inflatable design buys us time, but it's not protection against the moon's deadliest threats. Cosmic radiation, micrometeorite strikes, and temperature swings. Long-term survival demands something tougher. This is where the next stage begins. Bricks made from moon dust. Scientists have already shown that regolith can be heated and fused into solid building blocks. Imagine a habitat built like a fortress, where metal or inflatable cores are wrapped in layers of lunar bricks. These bricks act as insulation, as armor against radiation, and as a shield against tiny space rocks that slam into the surface at incredible speeds. With enough bricks, a lunar house doesn't just shelter astronauts, it becomes a safe haven. China is already testing this idea with their moonpot vessel, an egg-shaped structure that combines traditional bricklaying techniques with robotic construction. In 2024, Chinese scientists created bricks from 5 different simulated lunar soils and exposed them on their space station to vacuum, radiation, and temperature swing. If they hold up, robots may one day be laying lunar bricks before humans even arrive. And then there are more radical concepts, like glass-blown spheres. A US company called Skyworks is developing the idea of melting regolith into molten glass and inflating it into massive domes layer by layer. These spheres could become entire cities under glass, large enough for farms, factories, and whole neighborhoods. Wild? Yes. Impossible? Maybe not. From inflatable labs to brick fortresses to glass cities, the architecture of the moon will evolve quickly. What begins as a shelter for survival could become the blueprint for the first true extraterrestrial neighborhoods. But here's the catch. Picture this. You can build the strongest walls, the safest airlocks, even the most advanced labs. But without power, it all becomes a tomb. On the moon, 14 days of relentless sunlight are followed by 14 days of pitch black, freezing darkness. Temperatures swing hundreds of degrees, batteries die, solar panels fail, and all of it unfolds 400,000 kilometers from Earth, with no backup grid to save you. So the question is, how do you keep a city alive through that nightmare? So what's the answer? Nuclear power. This isn't new. NASA has been flying small nuclear systems for decades. The Voyager probes launched in the 1970s and are still sending data today thanks to nuclear generators. Mars rovers like Curiosity and Perseverance run on nuclear heat. China operates a nuclear-powered rover on the far side of the moon, but all of these are small, good for a robot, not for a city. To power a settlement, NASA is developing the Fission Surface Power Project. Instead of relying on radioactive decay, this is full fission, splitting atoms of uranium. Each reactor must be compact, under 6 tons, and small enough to fit into a rocket. But don't be fooled by the size. A single unit could produce 40 to 100 kilowatts of electricity, enough to power a small neighborhood. With a few reactors linked together, you could run an entire lunar city. Habitats, rovers, labs, even factories producing fuel and materials. Where do you put a nuclear reactor on the moon? The answer might be the same place we searched for water: the permanently shadowed craters. Here, the temperatures are always cold, perfect for preventing overheating. Rolls-Royce, the same company famous for luxury cars, now they're adapting that technology for space, creating compact, modular nuclear power systems that can be scaled up as the moon base grows. Solve the power problem, and the rest becomes possible. Roads, rovers, homes, even industry. All of it relies on a steady current of electricity. Without it, the base dies in the dark. With it, the settlement thrives. With power, roads, rovers, and homes, we're no longer visitors, we're pioneers. Just as Armstrong's first step changed the Earth's history forever, this is our next giant leap. Not just a step onto the moon, but the building of a small city upon it. But will we conquer it, or will it conquer us? Forget a weekend mission. This isn't survival practice. This is humanity's first true settlement beyond Earth. A city carved from dust and shadow on an alien world. The very first chapter in a new history. For decades, space exploration has been about short visits, a few orbits, a few landings, a few days on the moon. But with Artemis, everything changes. This isn't about going, it's about staying. Roads fused from lunar glass, rovers that double as houses on wheels, habitats wrapped in bricks made of moon dust, nuclear reactors humming in frozen craters. Piece by piece, the blueprints of a city begin to take shape. This isn't science fiction anymore. It's engineering, politics, and ambition colliding in real time. And when those first astronauts step into a habitat and call it home, we'll witness something humanity has never done before: build a permanent community on another world. History is full of turning points like this. When Alexander the Great marched east, he didn't just conquer, he founded cities that carried Greek culture for centuries. When Columbus crossed the Atlantic, he didn't just land, he redrew the map of the known world. When Neil Armstrong took that first step onto the moon, he didn't just leave a footprint, he opened a door. Artemis is the next door, and what lies beyond could define the next 1,000 years. Think about it. If we can tame the dust, power our homes, and grow food in alien soil, then the moon isn't just a base, it's a gateway. From here, Mars is no longer a dream. The asteroids with their metals and minerals are no longer out of reach. Even the outer planets become stepping stones in a chain that starts in the shadow of lunar craters. And the symbolism matters. For the first time in human history, children could be born off Earth. Their first view might not be blue skies, but the blackness of space. Their first horizon might not be mountains or oceans, but the curve of Earth rising above a gray desert. A generation raised under alien skies, the true beginning of a spacefaring civilization. But here's the question: will we rise to that challenge or repeat the mistakes of the past? Will the moon become a beacon of cooperation, where nations and companies work together to push humanity forward, or will it become the next battleground for power and resources? History warns us both paths are possible. The moon is where it begins. Our first settlement carved from dust, shadow, and frozen craters. But this is only the opening chapter. Every road we build here, every reactor we light, every habitat we raise is training for the next leap. Because Mars isn't a dream. It's the next great frontier, and the moon is the gateway that will take us there.